I'm Amelia. Today, we're going to talk about why unspoken expectations ruin love. So, let's talk about disappointment in relationships. That familiar, heavy feeling that settles in when your partner doesn't react the way you hoped. You had a terrible day at work and came home needing comfort, but he was distracted by a game on his phone. You spent hours planning the perfect birthday dinner, and she seemed barely to notice the effort. You dropped hints for weeks about a gift you wanted, and he got you something completely different. In that moment, a painful internal monologue begins. If he really loved me, he would have known I needed a hug. She's so ungrateful. She doesn't appreciate anything I do. We interpret their actions, or lack of action, as a direct measure of their love and care for us. This feeling of disappointment is real. The hurt is real. But what if the source of the pain isn't your partner's behavior, but an invisible script you've handed them? A secret rulebook for your relationship that they've never read, that they don't even know exists. These are your unspoken expectations, and they are one of the most common and silent killers of intimacy. Today, we're going to drag these hidden rules into the light. We'll understand why we create them, why they are so destructive. I'll give you a 3-step process to transform your unspoken expectations into clear agreements that build connection, not resentment. So, what are unspoken expectations? At its core, it's the subconscious belief that your partner should intuitively know and automatically meet your needs, wants, and desires without you having to communicate them directly. It's the mind-reading myth. We believe that if our partner truly loves us, they will just know. They will share our exact same emotional operating system, the same definitions of love, support, and romance. We think our needs are universal and obvious. Where does this myth come from? It's programmed into us from a young age. We learn it from our family of origin. We observe how our parents showed affection, or didn't, and we adopt that as our default rulebook. We carry these hidden expectations into our adult relationships like invisible luggage, and then feel shocked and hurt when our partner, who grew up with a completely different rulebook, doesn't follow our rules. The problem is, this strategy, which feels so romantic in theory, is incredibly destructive in practice. First, unspoken expectations set your partner up for inevitable failure. You are giving them a test that is impossible to pass because they do not have the questions. It is a game they are guaranteed to lose. When you expect your partner to read your mind, you are abdicating your responsibility to know and communicate your own needs. It is fundamentally unfair. You are essentially waiting to be disappointed, and your partner will almost always deliver. Second, they build a wall of resentment. When your partner inevitably fails your secret test, you feel hurt and let down. And because you believe they should have known, you interpret their failure not as a simple lack of clairvoyance, but as a lack of love or care. You think, he doesn't care enough to remember, not, I never actually told him how important that was to me. This stored disappointment hardens into resentment, a slow-acting poison that erodes trust and connection over time. And third, they block the path to true intimacy. Intimacy is not magic. It is the result of vulnerability and understanding. It is the process of safely revealing your true self to another person and having them see you and love you for it. By holding on to unspoken expectations, you deny your partner the chance to truly know you. You prevent them from showing up for you in the way you actually need. You are waiting for them to guess the combination to your heart, instead of having the courage to give them the code. So, how do we escape this trap? We must learn to transform our hidden expectations into clear, loving invitations. It's a 3-step process. Step 1. Excavate your hidden rulebook. You cannot communicate a need that you are not consciously aware of yourself. Your first job is to become an archaeologist of your own heart. Here's the action plan. The next time you feel that familiar sting of disappointment, don't just focus on what your partner did or didn't do. Pause. And ask yourself, what was the unspoken rule my partner just broke? Let's work through an example. Let's say you're resentful because your partner never plans dates. The event is no dates. The unspoken rule might be, in a loving relationship, the man should spontaneously plan creative romantic dates to show he desires me. Now dig deeper. What is the core need underneath that rule? The need is, I need to feel desired, prioritized, and special. By excavating down to the core need, you move from a rigid, specific rule to a more flexible, universal feeling. This is what you actually need to communicate. Step 2. Take responsibility for your needs, the vulnerable ask. Once you know your core need, the next step is to take responsibility for it. This is the vulnerable part. It requires you to stop being a passive tester of your partner's love and become an active communicator of your own needs. A need is not a weakness. It is a human fact. Voicing it is an act of strength and self-worth. Here's the action plan. You state your feeling, and then you make a clear, positive request. Instead of silent resentment, waiting for him to plan a date and getting angrier each week that he doesn't. Try, the vulnerable ask, I've been feeling a bit disconnected from you lately, and something that would make me feel really special and connected is if you could take the lead on planning a date night for us sometime soon. Would you be open to that? Notice the difference. You're not accusing. You're not demanding. You are vulnerably sharing your need and making a clear, actionable request. You are inviting him to succeed, not waiting for him to fail. Step 3. Negotiate a shared agreement. This is the final, crucial piece that transforms an expectation into a partnership. When you make your request, your partner might say yes immediately, but they might also have their own feelings or limitations. The goal is not to force them to meet your expectation perfectly, but to find a solution that works for both of you. This is an agreement. For instance, using our date night example, your partner might say, I'd love to make you feel special, but honestly, I'm terrible at planning things and it stresses me out. But how about this? If you can find a restaurant you'd like to try, I will handle everything else. The booking, the transport, and I promise my phone will be off the entire night. Is it a workable, loving agreement where both partners are trying to meet each other's needs? Yes, 1,000 times yes. A real-world agreement, co-created in partnership, is infinitely more valuable than a fairy tale expectation that only exists in your head. The disappointment you feel is not a sign that your partner doesn't love you. It is a signal. It's a flashing light pointing to an unspoken expectation that needs to be brought into the light, a hidden need that is asking to be voiced. Stop testing your partner. Start inviting them in. The most romantic and loving thing you can do is to be vulnerable enough to say, here is my heart. Here is what it needs to feel safe and cherished. That is the foundation of a love that doesn't just survive, but truly thrives. What is one unspoken expectation you've held in your relationships? Share your aha moment in the comments. And for more insights on building a life of conscious connection, make sure you subscribe.